Hello everybody, this is Noah, and today I'm going to be doing a keyboard build. Another keyboard build? Why are you doing another keyboard build? I like keyboards, guys, alright? Quick comment on why I don't really upload as many videos as I used to. I am a full-time student at Ohio State, and I don't really have the time to make videos like I did in high school. I try my best to get videos out there, but usually what it ends up being is I put out videos of things that are my hobbies, and I don't make a lot of them because they take a lot of time to film, they take a lot of time to edit, and I work full-time over breaks, so it's not that easy for me to keep consistently putting them out. So I apologize for that for everybody who is really looking forward to my videos, and I appreciate everybody's support. It's just really difficult to maintain YouTube while I'm doing all these other things. But enough about all that. Let's get into this guy. Alright, so what board we have here today is the KBDfans KBD67 Lite, and the color that I got mine in, right, it should be this box. The color that I got mine in is going to be white and gray. I already opened it here, so that's why it's got that tear, if you were wondering. And then, as you can see here, it's plastic, and we have this gray bottom shell and this white top piece here. One thing I noticed that was interesting is the only screws that are on here right now are at the four corners. The middle four actually don't have screws inside the case right now, so I'm guessing they come with it. If not, that'd be pretty ridiculous, but I'm assuming they're in the rest of the kit. But that's the first box here. The second is something you don't normally see, or at least I don't normally see with keyboards, or at least not custom ones, is this KBDfans case. And let me just take a second. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's kind of dark because the logo is black here and it's like embossed. But that logo looks so much better than this logo. In fact, I think the best looking logo is that one. And I'm not sure why KBDfans doesn't just include this logo on everything, because that is far better than this Comic Sans-esque font. I don't know what font that really is, but it's not very attractive. Thankfully, this thing's always sitting on your desk, so it's not really anything you have to worry about somebody commenting on, as if anybody probably really cares. Most of us in this hobby are the only ones that care about the keyboards. But putting that aside, we can open up this case here, and I will say, I do like the case. I think that it's neat that it's included, and I could definitely use it to transport more boards. And it's got this really, really soft like velvet on the inside here to protect the keycaps. Not like a huge amount of cushioning. This is more of like a plastic covered in velvet type of piece. And then it's not like a huge amount of protection, so I wouldn't go like tossing it around anywhere expecting it to keep your keyboard safe. But it's decent. So, and it's included with the keyboard, so that was very nice to see. First, we have this USB-C cable, and it is coiled. I have a million USB-C cables, and the ones that I use primarily are ones that I made from Zap cables. You can check out the link in the description if you want to know how to get one yourself. They're DIY, so you can pretty much make them however you want. So I'll probably just toss this in my drawer, honestly. Next up, we have these stabilizers, the KBDfans branded stabilizers. The other ones that I have are GMK, I do believe. So it'll be nice to compare them to these. And then I do have some Krytox dielectric grease that I'll be using to lube them up. I lubed up my old Build's key stabilizers, and it sounds so much better. So you guys continue to roast me in the comments in that video. Yes, I fixed it. It doesn't sound as bad. I'll do a type test comparison to that old board at the end of the video. You have this screw kit, which I'm assuming will fit those extra 4 holes. And then it looks like some rubber bumpers to keep it from sliding around. And then a little tiny screwdriver that you're probably going to need to get into those really deep holes on the keyboard. And then this was kind of nice. I've never had this with another keyboard. It comes with 2 sets of muting foam. So actually, I think they're laid out in order here, so we're just going to go in order of how they come out. First up, you have the stabilizers, or the backplate, I should say. This is plastic. It's like a PC material, and it lets light shine through. So if you want to do an RGB build, or if you have that translucent version of this case, perhaps this will appeal to you more. I personally don't plan on putting RGB, or having RGB turned off is what I'm planning on having for this board, so I don't really care that it's translucent, but it does affect the acoustics like every other part in the build, so I'm curious to hear how that sounds. Next up is what I was mentioning. It comes with this keyboard foam, which I've never used on a board before. So yeah, it's kind of thin. I was expecting it to be a little bit thicker. Curious to hear how this affects the acoustics also. All right. The board here, you can see all the LEDs underneath. USB Type-C. And you can get a version of this that does not come with RGB, but comes with Bluetooth. And that's actually what this spot here is for in the case. That is where the battery would go if you make it a Bluetooth version. The battery does not come with the Bluetooth version, however. So we got this beautiful, beautiful board. Very reminiscent of my DZ60 from my last build. And finally, we have this mute, what is this? A silicone type of material? I'm not really sure what these are. I'll have to figure that out later in the build. And then this is actually pretty thick. This has kind of got some weight to it too, so I wasn't expecting this to be as thick. I was actually expecting the foam to be thicker, but I'm very intrigued to hear how this also affects the acoustics. So to begin, let's start building this board and putting everything together. So the first step to building the keyboard here is we're going to install these stabilizers. So all the stabilizer locations are these little gold holes. And you're going to take your clear stabilizer that they provide you with and your actual stabilizer pin. And you're going to slide it in so that the holes on the back of that stabilizing pin line up with the hole on the back of the stabilizer itself. Like this. So you can see both holes through that hole. You don't want it in reverse orientation. Make sure all of them are like this, or you'll have a headache later. And then in each one of those slots, you're going to mount this down. For example, if we choose this one right here, you're going to mount this like that. Let me hold it with one thumb here, and you're going to screw it in from the bottom. Now, one thing that they include with this board is some muting foam stickers that you can put on the top, so there's less noise from the stabilizer housing and the board. And then these sticker washers that you can put on the bottom so that the screw doesn't screw into the board itself, but it's screwing into this washer rather. I'm going to get these all attached, all of the stickers on off camera because this is going to take a little bit of time. I have the first stapler put on here and all the stickers put on, but I'm going to show you a couple things so that you guys are familiar. So all of these stains here, you can see that's the grease that I use. This is the particular grease that I'm using, just off Amazon. Tune-up dielectric grease. Dielectric grease is what you want to use, but it doesn't have to be this one in particular. So in order to avoid mistakes, like I said, this guy has one piece on one side and two holes on the other side. And you want the one with two holes facing out. The two holes facing out is the key here. And then what happens is, I think I might have misspoken earlier, the big hole is for the non-screw-in part, and that goes in like that, and it levers down, and the little hole is for the actual screw. So on the other side here, you can see I have all of these little washers that were stick-on, and I do have a ton of extra of these, so I can probably use these for another build, perhaps my old one if I take it apart and put them on it and see how that sounds. But that's for another day. So yeah, basically the big part is for the clip, the little part is for the screw, and then if you orient these wrong, you're gonna have to unscrew them and rotate them 180 degrees. That's the only way to fix it. You have to unscrew them. And then when you're greasing up the bar, what you want to do is, I might have got a little bit of grease here on the table, it looks like. Take the bar and dip it all the way into the tip of the tube and just kind of like move it around and get it nice and greasy. And then I also use a toothpick, and there's a part of the board here where it snaps in, and that's where you want to also grease there, and that's what I use the toothpick for. And what you want to do is you want to push it down and forward, and you hear that snap, that means it's in right. And you know you did it right is you can see both of these moving up when you move one. See how they're both moving up at the same time. When I pull this one, it moves the other one up perfectly. You could be like me and not get grease all over the board. It doesn't particularly matter. It's not going to hurt the electronics or plastic or anything. This is safe for electronics, it's safe for plastic. It just kind of makes the board look ugly. You can use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol to get rid of that. I don't personally care that much since the board is not being seen. But yeah, that's about all there is to it. I just got to install the other 4 and then we'll be ready to roll with the next part. So now that we got the stabilizers all in place, what I've done here is I've fit the silicone to the PC plate, just fitting all the holes through here, and that just falls right on top and kind of sits right into place here. I have the foam beneath it, but that doesn't really mount on. The silicone is important that we screw that on now though, with the long screws that are included here. Those long screws are going to screw into each one of these holes here, and that's going to keep the silicone and the PC plate fixed to the PCB. The foam we will actually just set in the case. That does not mount anywhere. So let's do that now. Alright, sorry about that misspeak. The long screws are for the case, the short screws are for the PCB to secure to the PC plate. So once you've secured that with the mute foam, or the mute silicone, these 3 parts will all be together, and this is a little bit difficult to take out since I put it in here, but these 3 are now secured together, and then you can just rest the foam inside here, and what you want to do is align that USB port right there, and it kind of just falls down on top of it like that. You can see it's lined up, and then all these silicone side bits you can just push into place around the edges, and then it kind of holds it in there pretty secure, just like that. And so what's up next? We are going to be installing the switches. I have chosen Gateron Yellows for my build here. These are linear. No tactility, no clicky. So yeah, I got these from KBDfans as well, and this is a hot swap board, so all you have to do to insert them is line up the pins, make sure that they are lined up correctly, and just push into place, and it will just snap down there like that, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. If it feels like it goes in funny, it probably did, and you want to pull it out and examine it, because you might need to use a pair of tweezers to bend these pins back into place. If you do this too much, you might break the pins, but thankfully these switches are pretty cheap, so it won't be a big deal. But usually you can just unbend them with a pair of tweezers or with some pliers pretty easily. But as long as you go straight down into the socket, there shouldn't be that much of a problem. I tend to maybe bend a couple switches in every build, and it's no big deal. You just pull them out and fix them. You might not notice when you push them down at first, but not to worry. If you have the pins bent incorrectly, it won't do any damage. You'll just be typing with it later on and realize that that's a dead key, and from there you'll have to pull the switch out and adjust the pins so you can put it in straight, and that way it'll register. So no worries if you mess it up. But yeah, this is going to take a while, so I'm just going to do this off camera and get back to you guys once all the switches are in place. So, I have all of the yellow switches on here. Looks like a candy assortment. So now what's left to do would be to take those 8 screws, the long ones from the pack, and mount this piece by screwing in through the bottom. However, I am going to actually set one of the profiles in QMK to something I designed myself, and then I will show you guys what keycaps I got for it. But first I'm going to flash that, so I'll be right back. We have the fully assembled board. Once I got those 8 screws mounted to the bottom of the board here, it kind of compression fit this top plate, which helps keep everything in place. I've never really done a build like that. Normally the keyboard will screw down through the PCB or through the stabilizer, or I should say plate, and it will screw to the board, but this one kind of just holds everything in place, and I actually do kind of like it. You have this little part right here that does a great job of holding that plate down, and then it gets it all around the edges too, with that lip here. And then the nice thing about this board is it's actually, because it's pretty deep here, the keys themselves will have a little bit of space deep inside of the case, and so you won't really see the switches. So if that's the look that you're going for, this board will help accomplish that really well. And I must say, I do really love how clear it is. You can see like all the stabilizers, and it just looks very sleek. And I think once I turn on the RGB here, you'll see why the transparent option might be more appealing to you. This thing is wicked bright. I might even be able to stop the camera down here to show you what I mean. I could turn off the light actually. Yeah, it's very bright, and because of this PC plate, it diffuses it really well too. So if you did get that transparent board, or that smoke black transparent version, then it would look pretty cool, I think. And even if I wanted to put like pudding caps on this, or like any kind of see-through caps, I think they would look very nice. However, I didn't get this board for the RGB. I got it because I wanted a 65%, and I wanted something that was very different sound profile from the other boards that I have. And I've gotten some keycaps to go along with this. My favorite kind of layout is that DSA, XDA, etc. All of them have similar profiles. Let me see if I can get this in the shot here. I'll just put it on top actually. So yeah, what I have chosen for this board, the great reveal, I have the Flighter keycap set from KBDfans also. And so this is Mitsubishi Zero fighter themed, so it's a World War II plane. And I'm pretty into aviation and space and all, and I like to match my keycaps to my interests. My last board was photography, since it's one of my other hobbies. So I thought that this would fit well, since I do have a little bit of a passion for flight and aviation. So yeah, I will probably have to play around a bit with which keys I want to pick, because this is like a full set to the greatest extent of the word. It is 3 layers deep here. Let me get this top layer off. It's hard to do because I don't want to drop it on the board and stop the video. So basically the top layer was that like alphas and then modifiers for a TKL, and then on the bottom 2 are some of those extra keys. You get plenty of space bars, plenty of different format keys. So this set would likely fit almost anything you throw at it. And for like, I think it was 50 or 60 bucks, I think this is a pretty good deal for a set of keycaps. Some people will be disappointed that they aren't these aren't sculpted or like cherry profile or anything. It's that XDA, ADA, I don't even know. It's that rounded profile that a lot of novelty keycap sets tend to have. It is a little bit taller than my Tex ADA keycaps that I got also from KBDfans. They don't think they're exclusive though. And I do like that it's a little bit taller, but this generally is my favorite profile because you don't have to worry about rows being different sculpts. This is all the same sculpt, so you can put any key anywhere. So let's outfit this board, and then I'll do a type test, let you see the RGB again, and do a comparison to my other board that I did in my last video. Say hello to Fighter Zero. I chose the novelties that I wanted and the layout that I wanted. So I am pretty happy with how this turned out. I'm very happy. This was one of the cheaper boards. Keyboards are expensive, so when I say cheaper, I'm not like super cheap, but overall it was about $200 for all the parts together, which isn't a bad deal for some enthusiast keyboards. You could be spending hundreds more, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. Basically, the layout that I have set up is just standard 65%. I have this as the insert key, delete key, page up, page down, right shift, left shift. This is the modify key that brings up the layer 1. Default layer is 0. This is a Windows key, and that's about it. Every other key is how you see it, backspace, enter. But yeah, I'm very pleased with how this turned out. Here's what the RGB looks like. Let me turn the lights out here. Here's what it looks like with the keycaps on. It's still incredibly bright. I'm shocked at how bright this keyboard is. I don't know if somehow having the PC plate just amplifies it, because my other keyboards, especially my one from KBDfans, is not nearly as bright as this is. So this thing's pretty insane. If you put some see-through caps, they would look fantastic on this. Obviously these caps are not see-through, so any RGB is just for aesthetic purposes. I'll probably have it off most of the time, but you do have a couple different modes you can cycle through, like a static color, breathing, rainbow wave, rainbow spiral. That might be the only ones. I programmed all of them to the keys that I can't even reach that. But yeah, that's about how it turned out. So let's do a type test for this board, and I will also compare it to my other two boards. Keep in mind, this is KBDfans KBD67 Lite round 2 with linear yellow switches from Gateron. Let's hear how it sounds. Now we're going to compare this to my bamboo board, my DZ60 with brown switches. And this was what my last build was, but I actually have a new set of keycaps on it. So say hello to the matcha keycaps from Drop. And as you can see, this keyboard has no lip. You can't see the switches on my new board. And finally, my daily driver. Ugh, this guy is very heavy. This is the Vortex Gear Tab 90M, and it is all aluminum base. So this thing is super solid, very heavy. It's like almost 4 or 5 pounds, I think. But I love this board. I actually took the old keycaps from my bamboo board and I replaced the stock keycaps for my Vortex. And because the bamboo board got these new matcha keycaps, so now we are rocking the full Tex ADA film never dies keycap set on here, and these are actually fitted with speed switches. And just for reference, I lubed all of these switches, or all of the stabilizers, with that dielectric grease that I showed earlier. So now we can listen to this one. So that about concludes this review and setup of the KBDfans KBD67 Lite Round 2 keyboard. This thing is fantastic. I generally try to stay away from plastic boards. For whatever reason, they've always scared me. but I really love the design of this board and I wanted to give it a try. I love the mute silicone, and I'm not sure if the foam does that much, but the silicone is definitely doing something. If you heard the difference between this and the bamboo board's completely hollow, it's wood, so there's lots of thockiness, lots of echoing. This board, silence. No reverb whatsoever. It sounds fantastic. It feels great. I love these yellow Gateron switches that are linear, and I simply love this keycap set from KBDfans, the Flighter PBT keycap set. You can pick all of this stuff up for yourself on KBDfans. I'm not sure if they are running another production of the KBD67 Lite soon, so you'll have to keep an eye on that. It's definitely out of stock now because it was a group buy for round 2, so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to pick this up just yet. Perhaps it'll become a standard you can just buy from their website, but for now you might just have to wait for another group buy. The keycap set is ready for purchase. The switches are obviously ready for purchase. And then everything else you need with this keyboard comes with the KBD67 Lite. I love that they included a case. I can actually use that to carry my other keyboards around, all save for the Tab 90M because that's a full size. But it's just a really nice touch that KBDfans included, especially at the price point for the board itself. It was like, I think $112, and for everything you get stabilizers, you get the PCB, you get the case, you get the silicone, you get the foam, you get the stickers, you get the washers, everything. It's all like ready to go. All you need is keycaps and switches, and I think it's an overall really great starter set. It's not common. A lot of other people aren't going to have this board just because it's a group buy, so you won't be looking at tons of other clones of your board out there in the wild. I know the GMK Pro from Glorious, that is, a lot of people are picking that up now, and it's becoming more of a mainstream board. So if you're looking for something more niche, something that most people aren't going to have, this board might be your ticket. Don't be turned off by the plastic. This thing is fantastic, and it has my glowing review. So thank you all for watching, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye.